Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.
Ernest tells a story in this book, Life is What You Make It, called The Attracting Power of Love. And so in this story, there's this young woman who comes to him for counseling. And she works in an office with a manager who is extremely difficult. This man was so difficult that the woman had gotten to a point where she could not stand the sound of his voice. When she heard him walking, his footsteps irritated her. She couldn't stand the kind of ties that he wore. She didn't like the way that he moved his eyes. There was not one single thing about this man that she liked. And he was mean to everyone, according to her. But Ernest starts working with her about beginning to shift that story within herself. Because remember, we can't do anything to change somebody out there. All we can do is change what's happening inside of us. All we can do is change our experience of it. And so if we can actually begin to shift that around, then we can begin to have a different experience with everyone in our lives. So what happened was she began to look for those little things that didn't really tick her off about this guy. She had to start with that. She couldn't get to the point of love yet, but she looked for the things that didn't bug her too much. Like if he did something really productive for the company, she would say to herself, well, he did a good job on that. That was well done. I like the way he handled that. And then it got to be where she could actually begin to think about some of the things that were more personality quirks of his. Like, when he was telling us that that new rule that he has, I really liked the way that he presented that to us because his voice was very soft and compassionate. And so she got to where she could shift it around a little bit, that he wasn't quite as abrasive to her. And she began working with that and working with that and working with that. And then she would find lots of different ways, like, well, he has a family too, and I know he has children that he loves, and those children he's providing for, just like I am, just like I'm doing for my family. And she began to look for all those little ways in which they were the same. This practice of finding the commonalities really can begin to soften abrasive people in our lives.
Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.